Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I have some Xaryu's gameplay and some Xaryu gameplay, some priest and some mage to walk you guys through in 8.0. So let's hop into it, cut the intro. Here on my priest, I'm playing some hunter, rogue, discipline priest. This is survival and assassination. I don't know how good this comp is, but we've been playing it because it's been very fun. And this was just a pretty awesome game, and I'm going to walk you guys through it. So starting off, we're in the Grand Arena. We're fighting a Restoration Druid, a Moonkin, and an Assassination Rogue. Our comp is based around Stun, Trap, and the Fear, essentially, but we don't need the Fears all of the time to actually get the kill. Sometimes you want to play defensively. First things first, walk into the game. I'm not in combat. We get the sap on the enemy Druid. I'm running to the Druid to dispel him to get combat so I don't get sapped, but there's a second or two before I can actually get to that Druid where I'm vulnerable to getting sapped myself. What do? Premonition, boom, death to sap there. I knew it was coming because that's the only time it could come, right? And if it didn't come, then I just death nothing. But now, close enough to the Druid where I can dispel him, get that combat, and then I can't get sapped anyway. So boom, right in the opener there, making the plays, the Xaryu's plays, walking you guys through it, how it's done with the mindset. Death, those saps, very, very important. Now, Rogue opens me with that Garrote. There's the silence. We want to be kind of having our eyes right here. What's being casted? A Cyclone was being casted. It got interrupted. We're kind of opening up on the enemy Restoration Druid. The Bash comes out on my Rogue. These are all the things that you want to be looking for in the moment, right? Rogue's kind of hanging out near me, throwing out the Mind Control. Throw out the Death just in case you wanted to blind me. Now throw out that Mind Control, get that adaptation off the Rogue in case my team wants to swap to him. Now he has no adaptation for 55 seconds. Now the Boomkin's casting Entangling Roots, and then boom, pre-dispel the root beam, right? And this is something else that you can kind of keep an eye out for. When you see the Entangling Roots being casted, right here, you know it's on yourself, right? So you dispel as the roots hit. So the beam, when it silences you, you're not stuck into it, right? So Entangling Roots being casted, boom, pre-dispel the root beam. You can get out of it if you dispel at the exact same time. So number one, death the sap when you're running in. Number two, be aware of what's going on. Number three, look at the cast bars and pre-dispel those root beams so you keep yourself out of that crowd control. Boom, outside of that root beam. Now Rogue's taking a bit of damage, helping out a bit offensively. Pop that Dark Archangel. Boom, death the blind. So just to reverse a little bit, the root beam failed, or the sap failed. The root beam failed. They need CC on me for their comp to operate. I know they want to get CC on me. That's either going to be a Cyclone, it's going to be a stun, or it's going to be a blind. Okay, Rogue's now running towards me. Pop Dark Archangel. He's taking a lot of damage. I know he wants to CC me. So boom, throughout the death and death the blind. Very obvious it's coming. They need CC to get something going. They've already failed 2 CCs. They're running at me. Now they've failed 3 CCs. Xaryu's on fire this game. Now the Dark Archangel's up. The Vendetta lands. Tons of damage coming in, so we can help out a bit offensively. That Garrote comes out, though, so I can't keep that silence up. Throwing out the Rapture Shields here when my team is at high life, just keep them very offensive in this moment. I do get Cycloned here, but the enemy Resto Druid goes down. So there's a nice game there, walking you through a game like this. If you played in full speed, might seem like impossible, lucky, like whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, if you break it down, it's kind of obvious when these things are happening and why they're happening, and to kind of repeat stuff like this to happen more and more frequently. So where you're avoiding CC, deathing those blinds, deathing those saps, pre-dispelling those root beams, getting out the damage when you need to, and kind of staying up at the pace of the game. And that's what Disc Priest is all about when you're playing RMP, when you're playing jungle, when you're playing survival, rogue, thug cleave. So that's definitely very important. I hope this gameplay helped, but now we're going to hop into some mage gameplay over on my mage on Xaryu. Alright guys, here we're playing a very interesting composition. We're actually playing Frost Mage, Resto Druid, Ellie Shaman. Now this isn't the best comp by any means, just like it was never the best last expansion when we played Arcane Ellie. But we have tried some Arcane Ellie, I think, and it wasn't quite as hot. Alright, Arcane Mages, they don't quite have the consistency as they used to. The survivability's there, the mobility's there, but they don't quite have the burst of Frost, and they don't quite have the consistent damage that a comp like this requires. So we're playing Frost instead, and then Dino aka Dino, aka my boy on the Resto Druid, healing us, keeping us top back off. and then Oz on the Elemental Shaman. Now we're fighting Moonkin, Rogue, Holy Paladin, and I am playing Glacial Spike. All right, so a lot of people wondering when to play Glacial, when to play Ray of Frost, why am I playing each one? If you checked out my Mage Guide, you guys should already know. But if you haven't checked out my Mage Guide, just as a quick breakdown, Glacial Spike, if you have time to cast, this isn't maybe an RBG, this is maybe in a double caster 3s comps, this is maybe some games in 2s, right? If you have time to cast, you have a healer, the goes aren't like, all right, we have 4 seconds to kill, and then if we don't kill, it's over. So don't play Glacial in something like RMP, probably not in something like FMP. So these very setup, quick-based comps, you just don't have time for it. But in a comp like LE Frost Mage, you're sitting back, you have a lot of time, you can actually cast those Frost Bolts, cast the Glacials, get a lot of value out of it. Thumbs up. So playing Glacial in a comp like this, I think it was okay. Right off the opener, get the Rogue out, I think, and we counterspell the Moonkin in his Cyclone attempt. That's just part of the awareness, seeing, all right, the Moonkin casting Cyclone, we counterspell it, Rogue's near us, we Frost Nova him. That's the Xaryu control here, all right? Keeping the game under control. Nova on one, counterspell the other, might go for a Sheep on the third, something like that, getting that triple cross CC. Throw out that Cap Totem on the Rogue after that as well. Very nice stun there by Oz. Have all of our damage still available, and I have this Glacial Spike built up now, right? Just throwing out some Frost Bolts, kind of feeling out the pace of the game, keeping things slowed, get that full Polymorph on the enemy Paladin, pop Veins and pop Trinket that Cyclone that goes up onto me, get that Reshape and get a huge burst there onto the Moonkin. So that right there was Glacial, Flurry, Ice Nova with unused Trinket. One of the biggest bursts you could do as a mage. He did pop Skin, we got the Pally Sack, and maybe that's it, Skin and Sack there. So that's pretty solid. Throw down the Blizzard to try to get that orb back just a little bit quicker. Keep things slowed in the meantime as well. Throwing out the Frost Bolts to build up another Glacial. I can throw out a Polymorph if we need to peel a little bit. Rogue's taking a little bit of damage. Throw out that Glacial Spike into that Comet Storm, which is a great combo because the Comet Storm gets that shatter benefit from the Glacial Spike Nova, and the Nova from Glacial doesn't break very easily, right? So most of the time, all of those comets are going to actually crit from that shatter bonus. Moonkin tries casting, throw out the counterspell onto him. Once again, kind of playing very defensive, sitting back, eating that Cyclone out of that stun, which is okay. Pally's pushing in, and I see that, so I'm trying to get a Poly onto that Pally to punish him for pushing in. We do manage to get it. Now, Oz is getting a little low. Pally does get out of that Polymorph with a Trinket, throws out that Trinket stack onto the Moonkin. Looks like the Moonkin's going to be fine, but that's the second stack already pretty early into the game. Full Moon being cast. A little scary. Don't have Prismatic Cloak anymore, so can't blink that. But did look like it didn't crit or didn't do too much damage there, so it looks like I'm going to be fine. Kidney Shot, and the bomb comes out on me. So I have Ice Block if I'm needing it. Getting pretty low here, but I do get that Temp Shield blink out. Trying to line that Cyclone, end up kicking it instead. And this is kind of the problem. Like, if they're on me too much, it's hard to actually cast those Glacials. It cast enough Frost Bolts to even get those Glacials. But it looks like we finally do get that full Polymorph. I'm going to pop Orb. I'm going to pop my unused Trinket. Throw out some Frost Bolts, some Flurries. Trying to get another Polymorph. It looks like I get kicked, but Dinah falls up the clone. Beautiful awareness from my Resto Druid to see that I got kicked to follow up with that CC. Now that Bash comes out, I have this Glacial ready, trying to actually make a hard swap onto the Pally. Nova the Rogue, so he can't stop me. Big Glacial out on the Pally. He freedoms out of that Nova, though. Spell Steal of Freedom, now pressure back onto the Rogue. We Cyclone the Rogue up, and now we switch our attention to the Moonkin for now. Something that I haven't mentioned so far is that Arcane Intellect is back into the game as well. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that. If it gets Blood Elf purged off or any type of other purge, you want to reapply that Arcane Intellect. This is so important, and this is one thing that I see lower rated mages mess up all the time, is they just don't rebuff, right? They don't rebuff, and that is 10% Intellect, I believe. So a huge, it's like an unused trinket the whole game if you keep it up, and if you don't have it up, you're losing out on a ton of extra damage. So definitely be sure, guys, in your own gameplay to keep up that Arcane Intellect. Now Cyclone is being cast. It looks like it gets sheared there by Oz. Throwing out some more Polymorphs out onto the Pally. Now I have some cooldowns coming back up, ready to get a nice big burst going on. There's the big Glacial Spike onto the Moonkin. The Bash comes out onto the Pally. Moonkin is in the Orb with the Rogue, so doing a ton of damage, but he does beam me. Cyclone being casted does get interrupted by that Earth Shock, but Pally bubbles. That's one of his last defensive cooldowns. Rogue's taking a little bit of damage as well, and that's kind of the pace of the comp, guys. Exactly right here is the pace of our comp. We have Cyclones, we have Polymorphs, we have a lot of burst, we have decent consistency, and we can kite with those mage slows. That's kind of what we're aiming for. Right here, we have some more Xaryu control with the ring and into that Cyclone of the Pally, the Poly into the ring onto the Rogue. Druid's kind of running around in circles. Doesn't look like we can quite hit him here, so I'm just switching my attention. That's one of the things with this comp as well. If you chased for too long, you're going to get yourself killed. Whereas if you just let someone run and start hitting someone else that's in your line of sight, you're actually going to do much better a lot of the time. So if the Moonkin is across the map running, instead of chasing him, switch my attention to the Pally, switch my attention to the Rogue. Pop the Icy Veins here. I'm going to go for a big Glacial Spike Flurry combo. By the way, that's one of the most ways you can do damage, Glacial Flurry, because the Flurry is going to hit before the Glacial. That Flurry Shatter debuff is going to make the Glacial crit more often than not. And Glacial does a lot of damage, and Flurry does a lot of damage. So that's how he just got chunked super, super hard there. 5-stacking Canner with that Icy Veins. Although Icy Veins doesn't increase damage, it's just haste. Allows you to get those cast off a little bit quicker. Now the Bash comes out on the Pally. He got knocked out in the open. Have that Comet Storm and that Ice Nova. Throw out the Ice Lance. Throw out a Frostbolt Shatter combo on him. Looks like he might be okay. He popped that wall. Popped that Freedom. Goes behind the pillar. Moonkin's in a little bit more trouble now. Kind of back and forth here. I mean, defensively, I'm going to be okay. I still have 2 Ice Blocks. I have that Trinket. They've gotten Oslo a few times, but it seems like they're having difficult time setting up. What they really need to do is do big goes onto Oz with CC and a Dino, and if possible, cross onto me as well, but that's not easy to set up. Full Moon being casted. Looks like it gets sheared there by Oz. Nice shear. Big Glacial Spike coming in with the Nova. 11,000 damage. Another big Shatter combo. Polymorph Lance as well. Now this Sherwood's kind of on the run, trying to do his best to survive. Full Moon being casted. Full Cyclone onto Dino. Oz taking some heat. But there's that War Storm with the Comet Storm Ice Nova. And guys, Comet Storm, like I talked about in my mage video, is just doing so much damage right now, and it's so much fun to see an ability like Comet Storm actually do damage for once. Although mages are probably a bit too strong, they're probably going to get nerfed, but that Comet Storm right now is very fun. Glacial might be hitting a little bit too hard. I think Frostbolt actually needs a buff. Ice Lance might even need a buff, but then Comet Storm Ice Nova is maybe hitting a bit too hard. So maybe not nerfs, but buffs in some areas and nerfs in other areas. But anyway, that's the mage game gameplay, guys. That's the priest gameplay. Here is the damage breakdown: 251,000 damage. Still trying to get used to those new numbers, but so as you can see, mage not topping the damage charts by any means, but that burst and CC that mages bring definitely make them a valuable choice. I think they're definitely going to be good in BfA and RMP. FMP, they might be good. Shadow Priest Mage, they might be good. This might be okay. So a lot of different comps I'm very, very excited to try in the new expansion. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you did not enjoy the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs down. I saw in the last video, at some point, there was like 250 thumbs up and 0 thumbs down. And that was like, I was like, damn, you guys really like this video. I actually tweeted that out on my Twitter. My Twitter is Xaryu LOL if you guys aren't following me. But don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in the next upload. Peace.